This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your source for the latest Iowa ag news headlines right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, Mark Magnuson, and Andy Peterson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Thursday, February 20th of 2025. It's a very cold day outside. We hope you are all staying warm. We're glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, as always, we'll have the closing markets today with Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. But before we get into any of that, I have a conversation with Matt Roberts of Syverson Strege. We had a chance to catch up for our monthly conversation and talk about the tariffs, which will potentially go into effect in the next month. However, that doesn't mean that there's cause for panic just yet, and it's more important to stick to a pre-made financial plan. We're here with Matt Roberts of Syverson Strege, and today we're having our monthly chat, this time for the month of February. We know recently the Trump tariffs are going to go into effect. They were delayed for a month, but now they're going to go into effect. And there are a lot of things that are causing a bit of panic, concern from a lot of people on how that's going to impact the economy and impact their bottom dollar. And Matt, I know you guys talk a lot about investing with families in this area. How can investing be used to offset the risk that we could see from those tariffs?
Yeah, I can certainly understand people's concern over the tariffs and what they might mean for their investments or for the markets. And from our perspective, discipline in these times is really important. And this isn't our first go around with tariffs. So we don't have to look that far back to see what the impact was on the markets in President Trump's first term. And so, through those tariffs that did ultimately get imposed in his first term, the markets did really well. And it didn't have that dramatic impact on investments that everybody thought it would. One example is U.S. Steel Corporation. So they did impose steel tariffs on imports in his first term. And leading up to the tariffs, the stock price for U.S. Steel Corporation went up to $40 a share. It had been kind of floundering for years up until that point. Now, at the end of his term, it was back to $5 a share. And so what you think may happen because of tariffs isn't always what ultimately plays out, because there's many more factors other than tariffs. They're just a small piece of the ultimate picture that we see.
And I think that's a big thing with just the markets in general, but also with investing, is you can't make those knee-jerk reactions like you might see the markets do sometimes, where the grain prices might react to headlines. That's not always an indication of what's actually going on in the moment, right?
Absolutely. Typically, the markets are very efficient, so it's likely that the opportunity to buy or sell based on what may happen with tariffs is already passed, because markets have already priced in the tariffs to the prices that you see today. So it's very hard to time the market based on headlines.
So then, in general, investing is still a smart option as always. Panic investing, not necessarily the thing you want to do, but making investments for the future is always a good thing. So when we're looking at those investment options, especially this time of year, we're getting into tax season officially, and we've talked about this before, but just looking at those investment options for farming families and anyone out there, what are the top items right now?
Well, I would say ultimately it goes back to what are your goals, what's your risk tolerance, and sticking with a program and being in it for the long term. So we want to be diversified across many markets, not just the U.S. We want to have international investments, and we don't want to forget about fixed income as well, or bonds. And one side effect of these tariffs is that inflation is kind of sticking around a little longer than maybe we thought it would. And it's keeping interest rates elevated. So fixed income investments are paying a little higher interest than they have over the last decade. So just having that well-rounded portfolio that, reduces risk and ultimately gives you the return that you need according to your goals is a winning recipe.
And then we had talked before we got this conversation started about kind of financial literacy. And when it comes to situations like this, with tariffs being imposed or just any sort of economic hardship, having that financial literacy to where you can kind of navigate that with a little bit more of a sure mind can be very beneficial. And I know registration for these classes are closed, but you guys are offering a series of classes for younger people to get involved in investing. How is that so important for making sure that everyone is financially sound and they know how they want to navigate this market?
I think when we have a lack of information, we get fearful, and we just know what we see on TV or we hear on the radio, and they're the ones um, interpreting how we should view this news, and obviously fear sells, and they're going to put kind of a negative bent on it. So it's really important that you do your own research, you do some education around these topics, so you know what a tariff is, you know how it impacts the markets. And so that's why we offer financial foundations to help people understand investments, but their overall financial plan in general. And so we really encourage people to participate in that program. We offer it twice a year. And so you can find that information on our website.
And like you said, it's never too early to get a start on having that investment plan and being secure for the future.
Absolutely. It's never too late to start or never too early to start.
All right, Matt, lots of great information today. For anyone, like you just mentioned, the website, for anyone who would like to get in touch with Syverson Strege and learn more, how can they do that?
Yeah, go to our website, onlyworkforyou.com, or you can call us at 515-225-6000. We'd be happy to talk to you.
All right, Matt, thanks again for the time as always, and we'll talk to you next month.
Thanks, Riley.
That again was Matt Roberts of Syverson Strige. We'll take a look at the closing markets next, but first, here's a word from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Time now to take a look at the closing markets with Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. First off, Kaden, what do we see going on in the grains today?
Yeah, I mean, kind of a quiet market in my opinion overall, and beans going to close up double digits today, so that doesn't really seem quiet, but just not a lot of volatility today, and again, not necessarily a bad thing, but we kind of opened higher last night, corn and beans. We're still higher at the 7:45 pause, and it's just kind of stayed that way most of the day. Not a lot of news. Export sales delayed until tomorrow with the holiday we had on Monday. So, just kind of a day, in my opinion. Corn really is going to close on the low side of the day, about even or up just a little bit. Like I said, beans up 10 to 12, and wheat giving back a little bit. But overall, kind of a quiet day, in my opinion.
Of course, when we have these grain markets sitting quietly, they're looking ahead to something. You mentioned export sales tomorrow, but what else is coming up on the radar for those grain markets that might be the next market mover?
I mean, I think a lot of the market's holding its breath for acres report about a month away. They're at the end of March, and obviously the market's going to trade over the next month. A lot of things still to happen, but that's, I think, the next big thing and big objective. Everybody is wanting to figure out where corn acres are going to come in, subsequently where bean acres will come in. We'll get a quarterly stocks report that day as well, which you would think would be a little bit lower, just the way that demand has been and the yield cut that we got from the USDA in January. But acres, big thing right now, kind of on the forefront of everybody's mind for sure before we pivot to weather, U.S. weather from there.
And then looking at the livestock side of things, how did cattle and hogs trade? I know the hog market kind of had a little bit of a run and is really backed off today.
Yeah, it's backed off. Hogs down $1.20 or so today. Really had kind of a crummy week after gapping lower yesterday, and cattle down as well. Looking here, feeders down over $2, and fat cattle down about $1 as well. So, livestock complex as a whole was just on fire, for a long time, and finally kind of given some of it back here over the last week or two. I don't know that I'm overly concerned about anything, especially from a fundamental standpoint. I think it's just way market trades, give some back after you take so much. But I don't think I'd be overly concerned, especially in the long-term picture, about any three of them, really.
And when it comes to those livestock markets, especially at this time of year, it really feels like they're just at the mercy of whatever happens to be going on at the moment. As there's not a lot of factors driving those prices right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. And my take on livestock as a whole, and this is probably more true for hogs than cattle, but I think livestock are a pretty technical market, for lack of a better term. A lot of money flow and what the funds are doing matters a lot more just because there's maybe a little bit less day-to-day fundamental information. And so I think you can see, price patterns develop and things like that. I think that's where moving averages can matter and things like that. So that's kind of what I look for. And like I said, and on all three, nothing that I'm overly concerned about, not broken real important support or anything. So not saying we can't continue lower, but I think when you look big picture, that this is just kind of a normal retracement back down.
All right, Kaden, lots of great information today. For anyone who would like to get in touch with agmarket.net for more marketing information, how can they do that?
Yeah, just go to our website, agmarket.net. You can reach anyone from the team there, myself included. 30-day free trial of all we offer. That's the place to be, agmarket.net.
All right, Kaden, thanks again for the analysis as always, and we look forward to talking again soon.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you guys.
That again was Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. We'll take a look at how the numbers closed through the market window at iowaagnet.com. March corn up 1/2 cent at $4.98 even. March soybeans up 13 3/4 at $10.45 1/2. March soybean meal up $1.30 at $2.96 even. March soybean oil up 96 cents at $47.26. Chicago wheat down 6 1/2 at $5.85 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 6 1/4 at $6.07 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat down 3/4 cent at $6.32 3/4. March oats up 15 even at $3.56 1/4. On the Merc, April live cattle down 97 cents at $193.80. March feeders down $2.20 at $266.82. April lean hogs down $1.22 at $88.52. April pork cutout went unchanged at $96.10. And March Class 3 milk up 16 cents at $19.24. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. That also brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Check out as well our free midday, morning, and closing market podcasts, as well as the Iowa Ag Matters podcast and Pods of Potential. Find those on your favorite podcasting service at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean, or under the podcast tab on our website, again at iowaagnet.com. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.